Namaste. Paschatyarisatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Saurabhaktavedanta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama,
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगना श्रीविशाखान्वितां च ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण। Okay, let's reverse few points from yesterday. Okay, Pranjal. What's wrong?
So now is the starting process of motivational service hearing. By hearing, you can go up to the level of asking.
Only asking.
At least at that was you were talking about asking. Now hear from me. Prabhupada was focusing on the 9 devotional service. Prabhupada was telling in the purpose, concentrating the mind on Krishna. That is the sense of all spiritual yoga levels. And it can be done by hearing the starting point of that.
Oh, good. Thank you.
At the end of 6th chapter, Krishna says that who is the best and how to do that. Krishna is starting to explain that in 4th chapter.
How to do what?
अतः योगिनामपि सर्वेषां तद्गतेन अंतरात्मना ये शुद्धवान भवते योमां समयुक्त तमो मता. So what is the process? Detail. So everywhere he is Krishna. Seeing Krishna, understanding Krishna.
Madgatena antaratmana.
In heart. Seeing the Krishna in heart.
Concentrating the mind on Krishna. Concentrating the mind. So how to do that?
That he is explaining 7th chapter. So in that there he starts with the touch. So here Prabhupada explained that one should hear. Krishna is explaining himself because it cannot be understood by his personalism way or by yogic way, by Paramatma. That is incomplete knowledge.
Okay, good. We understood how Srila Prabhupada defeated scientists also, because one who knows Krishna, he knows cause of everything, because Krishna is the cause of everything. And on that basis, Krishna, even though he is scientifically not learned in that field, but he is able to defeat them. So this we discussed in what context. Krishna is the cause of everything. In the, which verse? Second verse. Second verse, what Krishna says? Both what? Both of both material and second verse. Phenomenal and Right. Knowledge. Gyan and Vigyan. So what is in that second verse? What does it mean of Gyan and Vigyan? So what does it mean? I'll give it to Bolo.
Then the Syria gun, numeracy is the
Madhurya. What is Madhurya Gyan? Madhurya Gyan means what? What is it? Madhurya. What Krishna's prasad is to? Madhuram. What else is sweet? Okay, fine. Something else? How did you hear the class? We told there is in matter and some sort of difference is there, but in holy name in Krishna, there absolutely not. Okay. What are other example? Some Chinese student in this. Okay. So what was the other Siddhant we discussed?
Everything is Brahman, everywhere is Brahman, but still it's not Brahman. It is not Brahman.
So what is that? What is same and what is different?
So because everything is emanating from Brahman, so we say that from cause is always in the effect. So that's why everything is Brahman. But still Brahman is different, cause is different from the effect. That is why it is not. Everything is not.
Okay. So more precisely, what did we discuss? What is the important Siddhant we discussed? That is true. Yes, Shakti and Shaktiman. Right? So we discussed how there is no difference between Shakti and Shaktiman, but at the same time there is difference. Shakti, Shaktimatiyor, Abheda. Okay, so and then on that basis, what did we discuss? What is Krishna discussing? Essence of everything. So what is that? So what is the lesson we learn? Srila Prabhupada says there is no conflict between personalist and impersonalist, because personalists, if they are not seeing the impersonal form, they are only seeing the personal form, means they are seeing cause. Impersonalist, they are seeing effect. So actually there is no contradiction between them, because both exist simultaneously. And is giving all these examples to show that how Krishna is the cause of everything, and Krishna also enters into everything and is the cause of the effect or the essence of everything. And for that we saw all those various examples. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada has written that important statement that the jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere. And one who understands this is blessed. The jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere, and one knows Krishna consciousness. Go to the 8th verse. Why? Because everything is Krishna. Therefore, whatever we see should remind us of Krishna. Okay?
favorability.
So that's what. So one sees only the impersonal aspect, then that's an incomplete understanding. If one sees only the personal aspect, that is also incomplete understanding. So the supreme absolute truth is both personal and impersonal. So when we understand that, then there is no conflict. Conflict arises when one has incomplete understanding. One takes only one aspect of that. Okay. So what we're going to do now is quickly. So we are going to give you one topic, and anyone can volunteer to speak on it from a Krishna conscious viewpoint. Okay. So because anything we see, we should be able to relate to Krishna, right? So let's see. Okay, if we take the ocean, so what are Krishna conscious things you remember? What's the ocean? Anyone? Bolo.
The waves we see in scripture, we say that there are innumerable Lord incarnations have come, and as many as waves have come.
Yes, so they are unlimited. Okay, good. Anything else?
This is Sri Krishna Karuna Sindhu. Krishna is the ocean of mercy.
Okay, ocean of mercy.
So it is even though moves always with a lot of waves, but it doesn't cross a certain border. So it is controlled by a lot.
Okay, so the Lord is controlling, and therefore the ocean cannot extend beyond its brink. Okay, something else?
We see that in ocean, if you see just ocean, it appears that it's mass of water, blue color. But when we go inside, there is variety in that. So in the same way, someone may see just the effulgence of Krishna Brahman, but if he goes deeper into understanding, you can see the personal form of the Lord, the spiritual world, basically variety.
Okay, variety. What else?
Ocean is never calm. There's always some waves coming. Similarly, Prabhupada is in the material world, one never remains comfortable. There's always ups and downs.
Okay.
Another thing that when we go deeper into the ocean, we find false enjoy. Similarly, when one goes deeper in Krishna consciousness, he also gets many realizations.
Okay, good point. Okay, fine.
Exactly right.
Like we give example of reverse merging. Reverse merging with the ocean, correct. So always the ocean remains still. So not the Supreme Lord that for us like happiness distress. There is nothing. This is which chapter? Yes, Apurimana Machila Pratishnam. Samudram Apa Pravishanti Yadvat. So even though the desire is low, but one who is Sthita Prajna is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires. Okay, fine. So, but so then, okay, let's see. If you are asked to speak something on the elephant. I mean, that is happening. All are okay, fine, good. Fine. Gajendra Pasna. Okay.
You also remember Kuvalli Pida, Krishna's skill.
Okay. What else?
And even it is very strong and huge. It is controlled by putting on the elephant.
Putting what?
The elephant in front of it.
Right. right. So that is so how when the sense of touch is uncontrolled, then one is led into the pit of material issues.
Maintaining an ant is a good elephant.
Okay. Only one elephant, huh?
Okay.
But there's thousands of elephants in the African jungle. Tons and tons of food. Okay, online, anyone wants to say something?
Hare Krishna, brother.
Hare Krishna.
Like I wanted to tell for the ocean one point. Krishna, like Prabhupada tells that the jiva is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Like if you take when qualitatively, like a drop of ocean which we take and the whole ocean.
Okay, fine. Anything else about the elephant? Okay, so it's plan for what? And not by? Okay, fine. Okay, one more. Deer. Okay, he's raising hand.
Deer has a very special fragrance, kasturi, in his name.
That is only for the kasturi deer, not all deer. So what happens?
So he sucks his, but that fragrance is inside himself. Only man can find happiness within.
Okay, good.
Because there is a pastime of Gocharan Leela in that the deers are welcoming Krishna and Balaram to their eyes.
Correct.
So Krishna is given everybody some special specialty.
Correct. Okay, good.
Bharat Maharaj pastime.
Okay, Bharat Maharaj pastime.
The deer is very attracted to the sound. So hunter catches the deer by the sound. Similarly, our ears also very active for a middle thing. So we should be very careful to engage in this sound.
Yes, not to hear what is deer. Okay, what else? Okay. Mother Sita. Okay. That's very beautiful. Okay, the golden deer.
Deer has beautiful eyes. So,
But with many. Bring many.
कहाँ से?
He will fly with his pastime.
कहाँ से? उससे लाभ क्या है उससे?
Should be aware how
What is the beauty of the eyes of the deer? One should be aware.
what accordingly we have to what is used for the woman. So we should be aware.
Oh, I see. लेकिन शास्त्र बताओ हमको सर. Kanjal, Samita. Okay, ठीक है. Hare Krishna. So now we're going to the next. So in this way, whatever one sees, whatever one remembers, one can relate it to Krishna consciousness. Okay. Next, 13 to 14. Three modes are controlled by Krishna, therefore surrender. 13. Tribir gunamair bhaver ebhi sarvamidam jagat mohitam na vijanati mavebhya paramavyayam. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Prabhupada begins the purport by saying the whole world is enchanted by three modes of material nature. Those who are bewildered by these three modes cannot understand that transcendental to this material nature is the supreme law of truth. Every living entity under the influence of material nature has a particular type of body and a particular type of psychological and biological activities accordingly. And then it talks about the four classes of people according to the mode. So here, Trivir Gunamair Bhave Evi Sarvam Idam Jagat. So everyone within this Jagat is influenced by the three modes. No one is spared. So except for Lord Vishnu, no one is free from the influence of the three modes. Even Brahma and Shiva are also sometimes influenced by the modes. So Mohitam, so everyone is put in illusion. Navijanati. So because of the influence of three modes, everyone is put in illusion, and therefore Navijanati Mam Ebhya Param Avyayam. So because of the influence of the modes, one does not understand Krishna, that he is above the influence of the modes. He is Avyayam. He is transcendental. He is eternal. So one cannot understand about the Supreme Lord as long as one is influenced by the three modes. And everyone is influenced. And because of the influence of three modes, then one gets different types of bodies, and all that happens because of the influence of three modes. Okay. So Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying, Krishna conscious, before that, when even those who are in goodness cannot understand, what hope is there for those in passion and ignorance? Even if one is in goodness, it is difficult to understand, because that is also the covering of the mode. Krishna consciousness is transcendent to all these three modes of material nature, and those who are truly established in Krishna consciousness are actually liberated. Okay, so one is truly Krishna conscious, and that's the liberated man. Okay, 14. Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya Mame Vaye Prapadyante Maya Me Taranti Te. This divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Purport.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of his energy and are therefore divine. Due to contact with metal energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by metal energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual nature, being emanations from Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature, matter, their illusion is also eternal. The continuous soul is therefore called Nityabadha, or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of metal nature is very difficult, even though that metal nature is an inferior energy, because metal energy is ultimately conducted by Supreme Will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior metal nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and the movement by divine will. Being conducted by divine will, metal nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of cosmic manifestation. The Vedas contain this as follows. Mayantu Prakriti Vidya Maya Mayanam to Maheshwaram. Although Maya, illusion, is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara. Another meaning of guna is a rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the rope of illusion. A man bound by hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by a person who is unbound, because the bound cannot help the bound. The rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or his Vamsa representative, spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotion service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his boundless mercy on the surrender soul, and out of his parental affection for living entity, who is originally a beloved son of Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material law. The words Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means Krishna, Vishnu, only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnation of Rajaguna, passion, and Tamaguna, ignorance, to release the condemned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas confirm this in the phrase Tam eva viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnu Evana Samsaya. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the ruler of the liberation for everyone.
So here, Krishna is saying, Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya. So Devi means divine. Why divine? Because there is a divine connection. Also, another meaning of the word Devi is also because the Devatas, they are also influenced by the modes. So that's also another meaning of Devi that's given. So in any case, here Srila Prabhupada is saying that Devi means divine because of the divine connection. And Krishna is saying Mama Maya, it is my Maya. So these are all Krishna's energies. So therefore, being Krishna's energies, they are extremely powerful. And the material energy functions through the three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And so these three modes, as you can see over there, why this is so low? No. ये पूरा, yes, it was up, no? So you can see that Krishna is controlling the jivas through the material energy, which is manifested by the three modes. So the three modes are also shown as the three personalities here. So all these are different personalities who are controlling all the jivas. So nobody is independent. And I think so we had quite an elaborate discussion last time that how nobody is independent. Everyone is under the influence of the three modes. So somebody remembers that discussion? How everyone, even somebody who might think he is independent, he can independently desire, but even the desire is controlled by the modes. Remember some example we discussed? About free will. The free will, we think that everyone has the free will, but those who are in conditioned living, they can't even exercise their free will because they are so much controlled by modes of free will. Correct. Example? Any example? Well, it's not example, but it was explained that when it is desire anything, we think that it is our desire, but that desire is also coming from the mode which we are. Okay, correct. You told one Siddhanta. Any example to explain that Siddhanta? How even the desire is controlled by the modes.
Example is drunkard person. When you see the wine bottle, even though he never wants to be the actor and he drinks that. Because the influence system.
Influence of?
One.
Huh?
So good. Ignorant what?
Tamogun, yes. By the influence of Tamogun, so even though the drunkard has a free will, he has a choice whether to drink or not to drink, but still, inevitably, he drinks. Why? Because the Tamogun pushes him to do so. So that's how Srila Prabhupada explains in so many lectures that practically the independence of the living entity in this material world is nil. Even though one may be thinking, oh, I'm independent, I can do this, I can do that. But ultimately, the choice is only between different forms of sense gratification. That's all. Correct? In the material world, what choices people make? In fact, that's no choice. So choice comes when? When does the choice come? Yes, when there are options. Correct? So first of all, one has to know that there are options. So what are the options available?
Either you become Krishna conscious or you become Madhyam person.
Yes. So there are only two options basically. So whether one is under influence of material energy or spiritual energy, only these two options are there. So for a materialistic person, what is the option? There are no options. There are no options. So the only option is this type of sense gratification or that type of sense. That is the only option. So therefore, as long as one is influenced by the modes, practically one is bound. That's what Prabhupada is giving. Guna means rope. And Prabhupada says that all these three modes, they are like three ropes, and then these three ropes are intertwined. And three ropes are intertwined, then it becomes one thick rope, and like that, three thick ropes, again intertwined, more thick ropes. So like that, these ropes become thicker and thicker, and these ropes are binding the living tightly. Where is the independence? There is absolutely no independence. So the concept of independence in material condition life is only an illusion. The person is only imagining that I am independent. The problem is what independence? Is jumping like a dog and is thinking I'm independent. There is no independence. There's no independence. So therefore, the independence, the choice only begins when one comes to knowledge. So only when one comes to knowledge and one understands this is right, this is wrong, then there is a choice. Correct? If one doesn't know only what is right, what is wrong, then where is the choice? So it is just like sometimes in some airplanes outside India, so they ask, so what would you like to have for dinner, chicken or beef? That is a choice. Is that a choice? What difference it makes? It's no difference. Both are going to lead to hell. That's all. There's no difference. So they're thinking that they're making some great choices, but it's all useless. So the choice only begins when one understands what is right. That's why at least one needs to come to sattva. Then some knowledge begins. Then one can make the choices between right and wrong. Otherwise, one is simply bound. Therefore, mama maya suratya. Atya means to cross. Suratya means very difficult to cross. So coming out of the influence of the modes is not so easy, very difficult. Because since when we have been tied by these modes, time immemorial, as Prabhupada said, no one can trace out the date. Therefore, Nitya Bhatta, since time immemorial, one has been bound. And therefore, the binding is very strong. So who can remove the bondage? Only one who is free. So if everyone is bound, how it is possible to help somebody else? Only somebody who is free will be able to help. And who is free? Only Krishna. Only Krishna. Therefore, Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnu Eva Na Samshaya. Only Krishna can liberate the jiva. So therefore, one must not underestimate the power of the material energy. So the material energy knows exactly how to trap the jiva. And material life means, as Srila Prabhupada explains, war against Maya. But war with whom? A very formidable enemy, very powerful enemy. The energy of the Lord, not so easy. And so we see that how, even in the case of Bharat Maharaj, even though he was so elevated, but Maya knew exactly how to trap. So a very divine quality of compassion, Maya trapped. Very nice quality, compassion. But through that quality only, she trapped. So sometimes, in devotional service also, Maya uses these tricks. So sometimes brahmacharis also show compassion to women also. It has happened quite a few times, many times actually, in our society. Brahmachari showing compassion to women and getting trapped. So recently there was one brahmachari who was telling how, so this brahmachari, very nice, sincere brahmachari. So just see the tricks of Maya. So there was one lady who, devotee lady, who had very nice sadhana, chanting so many rounds and reading the Shastras, very expert in the Shastras. So this brahmachari, who was himself very good in his sadhana, got impressed. So he thought, that's good association, isn't it? Somebody who's serious in Krishna. Yeah, first you have to caution yourself. So very nice quality, compassion. But one should know to whom to show compassion and how much compassion to show. So many people got trapped this way. So therefore, Maya knows exactly how to trap. Now, the other important point is when one is under the influence of the modes, it is very difficult for oneself to recognize them. Duratya. Why? I think we discussed this. Prabhupada gives an example. So just like if one is wearing yellow colored glasses, then everything will appear yes. So even though all these devotees are wearing yellow dress, some are wearing white, but if you have yellow colored glasses, what you say? He is also wearing yellow. Everyone is wearing yellow. Those are wearing white also are wearing yellow. So if somebody tells you, no, he is not wearing yellow, he is wearing white, what do you say? So you will be convinced he is wearing yellow. Whose problem is it? So I am wearing yellow colored glasses. So therefore, it is this is again something which again and again keeps coming up. It is very difficult for one to recognize one's own form. One will always think that what I am doing is correct. This brahmachari who was telling me about this whole thing. So he was thinking, and then that to show compassion to this lady is good. And then he was trying to justify it. Oh, this is destiny. What to do? Very difficult. So it's very difficult for one to recognize one's own mistake. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, a writer should never edit his own books. Therefore, even Srila Prabhupada followed that. He had editors for his books. Of course, Srila Prabhupada was on transcendental platform and definitely didn't make mistakes as far as philosophy is concerned, but still, as far as grammar and other things, he wanted editors. But that's the point, that very difficult for one to find one's own mistake. Therefore, we find even Ishwar Puri wanted to give that book. Which book was that? Krishna Kannanga. Anyway, so he wanted to give that book to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to edit. And then he found some mistakes. But the point is, you see these great souls, even they want to give the book to someone else to edit. So the Siddhanta applies, especially for us. Very difficult. Therefore, if you tell a thief, hey, what nonsense you're doing, what will the thief will say? Immediately, just like Narad Muni went to Valmiki and told him, why are you committing all these sinful activities? What he said? Papi pet ka sawal. I'm maintaining my family, so I have to do this. Eventually, there's justification. This is the tendency. Why? Modes cover. Mohitam. Nabhijana. The modes put one in English. So now if you want to know, if somebody tells, no, he's not wearing white, he's not wearing yellow, he's wearing white. So if you have to accept this, then what is necessary for you? One thing is remove the specs. Removing the specs is easy, but removing the influence of the modes is not so easy. So what is the alternative? That is the problem. I cannot recognize myself that I am influenced by the modes. That is what the example is showing. I cannot recognize it myself. Then what is the other solution? Means what? Have faith. Have faith in another person who is superior to you, who is more advanced. That is a must. And that is why at all levels, the guidance of a superior Vaishnava is absolutely essential. At no point one can say, for me, guidance is not. That is the beginning of the problem. And that also applies to someone as elevated as Bharat Maharaj. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes, 5th canto, 12th chapter, 14th verse purport. Bharat Maharaj fell down because he did not follow the instructions of his spiritual. So even at that level, instructions are required, guidance. So Prabhupada explained that if Bharat Maharaj would have taken instructions and guidance, then some other Vaishnava would have told him, no, enough of this deer business, give it up. Prabhupada writes in those purports, it was useless to show compassion to the deer because the deer could never become a devotee. He could never elevate the animal spiritually. It was useless compassion. So even on such an elevated platform, guidance is. So whose responsibility is it to take guidance? And sometimes the power of Maya is so strong that sometimes when guidance is given, one thinks this fellow is interfering in my life. So rather, we should be more eager to take guidance. And the problems usually begin when one becomes a little senior. That is when the problems. Then one thinks, no need of guidance. Now I'm the big boss. That's when problems begin. So the history of our movement shows so many cases of even gurus, GBCs having difficulties. Why? The problem was always the same. They didn't bother to take guidance. It's always the same problem. That's the power of Maya, one should recognize. Maya covers one's vision so perfectly, one fails to understand that I'm actually landing. So one has to be extremely alert to recognize the influences. And even to recognize that to some extent, then some sincerity is required. When there is some sincerity, then Krishna gives the right intelligence, the right. Then one. Otherwise, sometimes Maya covers a person so much that it's like when the cancer reaches to a very advanced stage, then it is irreversible. Exactly, that's what happened to Bharat. Then later on, he became so attached to the deer, then he began justifying everything. His spiritual practices became lax. He even gave up his spiritual practices, but he was justifying everything. You can read in the Bible. Everything he was justifying. That is the power. So therefore, that's the reason why Srila Prabhupada emphasized so much. The Shastras emphasize so much on the association of devotees. And association does not mean simply living together and having fun. That is not the meaning of association. What is the meaning of association? Chadiya Vaishnav Seva Nistara Payachiti. Prabhupada very often quoted. So, the association of devotees, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching to Rupa Goswami in the growth of the Bhakti Lata, the association is compared to, yes, fencing the Bhakti Lata. That is what is going to give one protection. And association doesn't mean, okay, we do things together. So we are such good friends. Together, we don't come for the money. You inspire me not to come, I inspire you not to come. We are so good friends. Nice association, right? That's no good association. So what is the meaning of association? Yes, Machitta Madgata Prana, yes. So what should that lead to? Change of heart, that's true. Yes, to be more Krishna conscious, helping each other to be more Krishna conscious. That is the purpose of the association. Otherwise, we're just staying together. So that is absolutely essential because it is not possible for one to oneself recognize the influence of the mind. And then slowly and steadily, Maya influences. So one day one misses the morning program and nobody says anything. The next day, yesterday I didn't attend, nobody said. आज भी चलता है. This is exactly what happens. We have seen it literally with our own eyes. We have seen these things happening. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, it goes on. And Maya will justify everything through the mind. Everything will be justified. And finally, Maya will say, this brahmachari ashram, 2 days ago. Leave it. Enjoy. Oh. Come on. This is what happens. Therefore, it is the onus is on us. The responsibility is on us to seek guidance. Many times, devotees in ISKCON use one nice excuse. Oh, our spiritual master, our Diksha Guru is hardly available. thousands of disciples, what to do, nobody to guide, nobody to give instruction. This is another justification. So what? If Diksha Guru is not available, then there are no other Vaishnava. In English, there's a saying, seek and you shall find. So it is our responsibility to seek the association, to seek the guidance. If we have that sincerity, then yes, everything will be good. And if we want to cheat, if we want to find excuses, if we want to justify all our nonsense, then Krishna will give that type of insight. Perfectly justify all the nonsense. So that is why Mama Maya Surat. Later on, we will see in the 14th chapter, 19th verse purport. Srila Prabhupada, so the 19th verse is speaking about how to transcend the influence of the modes. And Srila Prabhupada and purport at least 3-4 times, Prabhupada emphasizes and repeats the same principle of taking guidance from the spiritual in order to transcend the influence. So very essential. So otherwise, Maya totally covers, puts one in illusion, fails to understand that I'm going in the wrong. So therefore, because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material. Very clear. And so, this is also a trick of Maya, that one thinks that if there is no one to interfere in my life, that's very. In fact, I heard this, that some devotees specifically choose a spiritual master who keeps a safe distance. This is a trick of Maya. So, therefore, if one is thinking that on one's own one can overcome the influence of Maya, impossible. Durasteya. Impossible. Therefore, the superior help is required. And it is our responsibility. And sometimes when the help is given, one thinks that is another way of Maya's work. So therefore, the important point is, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material. Mam eva, eva means only. Mam eva ye prapadyante, mayam eta. So, especially those who are trying to be brahmacharis have to be even more alert. Because Maya Devi is very much disturbed by the Brahman. Prabhupada says in some lectures, Mahadevi says, hey, what is this? You're going out of my clutches? Come on, come here. So yes, if one is trying to be a brahmachari in the renounced order, so definitely it is an expressway. But what is the danger of the expressway? Why? Speed is more, so why? Carelessness. It actually happened some few years back. There was HR manager of Bajaj company. I don't know if you heard that. He was going from Mumbai to Pune on the express highway with his wife, two small children, some 8 years, 10 years, and in his Mercedes. So very costly car. It's going at good speed. And expressway, there's no traffic congestion. No, the one is very relaxed. And then what happens? 1 second. 1 second. He dozed. The car hit the road dividers, smashed against it. Both husband and wife on the spot. So yes, the expressway is very good. But then one has to be very alert. Surasya dhara. Spiritual life is like walking on a razor's edge. A little inattention and there is bloodshed. So that is brahmacharya. It's expressway, no doubt. But one has to be extremely alert. Very amazing how Maya gets in such inconceivable ways. It's so amazing. So amazing. And the way to be saved, Prabhupada is saying over here. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for living entities originally a beloved son. What does Amber Prabhupada give to explain this one? Yes. What dog? So who's the dog? Mahadev is the dog. So therefore, when a big dog attacks, then we can't save ourselves. The only way to save ourselves is call up the master. So that's what Prabhupada is. One has to call out the master. If one thinks I can protect myself, not possible. So therefore, the important point is one has to feel that helplessness. One has to feel that dependence on the Lord. And when the true feeling is there, then the dependence will translate into practical action. By sincerely following the instructions. So when one does not feel that dependence, then one thinks, ठीक है, सब चलता है, बिंदास रहो. So that is foolishness. And Prabhupada quoted this. Fools tread in where angels fear to tread. No, fools rush in. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Yeah. So if one is not alert, then it's like the moth rushing towards the fire. So the Shastras are full of so many examples, analogies, warnings, again and again. The Shastras is full of them. But in the purport of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the teachings of Mahaprabhu Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada again and again he uses the phrase so-called maturity. That is the problem. Usually, those who are neophytes, especially new devotees, not exactly neophytes, but those are new devotees, sincere, then they are usually careful because they think, oh, we are new, so better be careful. So you find new devotees quite sincere, coming for the morning program, attending everything. You see, usually the problem begins after one becomes a little senior. Usually that's when the problem. Then one thinks, now I have got the wings of freedom. I can do what. And that's the so-called mature. So those who are actually mature and advanced, then they always remain humble. That is a symptom of advancement, true advancement. He remains humble. He thinks, okay, I'm still neophyte, better be careful. But a so-called mature devotee is one who imagines himself to be mature and advanced, but actually is not so. Then that is where the problem is. In all those purports, Prabhupada explain the symptoms of a so-called mature devotee. Then he gives up the association of devotees, he gives up hearing and chanting, he gives up all these. Thinking, oh, now I'm very advanced. Following rules and regulations, that's for neophyte. That's how Maya takes over. So therefore, Prabhupada is writing this. So one has to take shelter of Krishna. Mam eva ye prapadyante. One has to take shelter. And taking shelter means taking shelter of Krishna. Following the instructions to listen. That's when one gets the shelter. One seeks shelter by following instructions, and one receives shelter by following. So then that's the sign of sincerity, and then Krishna reciprocates. So all these are very, very important points, which we may keep hearing again and again. But unless one puts these things into practical action, mama maya, one can never challenge the material energy. And one can never try to win the war against material energy.
what is the hope to win? It's like mosquito against the elephant. Where is the hope to win? It is only possible when one calls out the Krishna. I cannot do it. Just like Draupadi, she understood, I cannot do it. Then Krishna came to them. That's our. And therefore, the more one realizes one's insignificant position, and the more one takes shelter. And the more one will receive that shelter. But if one thinks, oh, I'm great, now I'm senior, I'm at this post and this position, I'm controlling so many people. The moment one thinks one is great, then Maya shows, oh, you think you're great? Okay. So therefore, then that's where the problem begins. So usually we see all those who deviate and divert away from Krishna consciousness many times are quite senior. Because that's when the problem begins. When one thinks, now I'm great. Now I have so many followers. Now I can do what I want. So, therefore, these are all very important. So if one always understands these principles, then I'm totally helpless against the clutches of. So let me always remain humble, surrender by following diligently all the rules and regulations. So our goal should be to simply follow. Prabhupada writes, you'll see in the Nectar of Devotion in the 17th chapter, where he's describing about Bhava Bhakti. So he's describing how one who's on the Bhava platform, he simply acts like a neophyte. He's not a neophyte, but he acts like a neophyte. Means what? He diligently follows all the rules and regulations. So that is the sign of advance. One who is actually advanced thinks himself a neophyte and he strictly follows it. So that should be our, as they say, modus operandi. If one is operating on that platform, I'm neophyte. Let me follow everything. Till my last breath, let me follow it. All the rules and regulations which Srila Prabhupada is doing, Acharya is doing, let me follow. Then one will be good. Moment one begins to think, now I've become great, then competition with Bhagavan is beginning. Then Maya Devi takes over. Oh, you're competing with Bhagavan? So, therefore, Mam eva ye prabhadyante Mayam. Even Devatas are giving example that one cannot cross this ocean of samsara by any other means. Trying to cross the ocean by any other means, like taking shelter of Devatas or this one, that one, is trying to swim across the ocean by holding on to a dog's tail. Possible? Cross the ocean by holding on to a dog's tail. The dog will sink and you will. So there is no other way. Mam eva. Okay. Any questions, clarification? Right.
entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to the contamination by the inferior nature, matter, their illusion is also eternal. Correct. What does Prabhupada mean? Yes, so basically it is since time immemorial. Since time immemorial, the Buddha Jiva has been in the material world due to the influence of the material. That's the bit.
The last record, Lord Shiva says, Mukti Prakash, where is quoted?
I don't know. Prabhupada is not giving any reference. Okay, you're sure?
Lord Shiva says, superior energy. That according to his species, is being controlled by Maya. How can he? Once his spirit also.
So why there we studied? Why is being considered as superior?
Higher state.
Dharyate. So what is the meaning of Dharyate?
Who are exploited.
Okay. So basically he's able to exploit what? Matter. This is jad. This is inert. Inert matter is able to manipulate. But why he's manipulating all this? Yes, to enjoy. Now we also have manipulated matter to construct this temple. What is the difference? Yes. So manipulating matter is not bad. So the jiva is superior, therefore he can manipulate matter. But when he manipulates the matter under illusion, thinking that this is meant for my enjoyment. So when he thinks that way, then Krishna Bhuliya ji Bhogavancha kare nikatastha maya kare jhapati. That is what. So when Bhuliya, when the jiva forgets that this is not mine, this is Krishna's and is meant for Krishna's enjoyment. When he forgets that, and when he tries to enjoy it, then the material energy takes. So then Durga Devi covers Avanatmika Shakti. Then there is also Lord Shiva who is controlling Shankarshan, controlling the false ego. And Brahma also puts various layers of coverings. It all begins with what? It all begins with desire. Desire to enjoy independence. When the desire is there, then all these devatas come and nicely cover the limit. And put him into such an illusion that he thinks the whole world is meant for my enjoyment. I am the Lord of all I survey.
Here, last paragraph, here, even Lord Shiva and Brahma is both. That also there's the owner of the book, like where is his own culture, but he's doing the different section only. And then what makes you that's how he's in the mode because
Right. So see, Krishna Prabhupada explains that they are the controllers of the mode, no doubt. So Lord Brahma is the controller of Rajagun, Lord Shiva is the controller of Tamogun, and Lord Vishnu is the controller of Sattva. But then Prabhupada explains in the purport in the Bhagavatam, in the first canto, second chapter. So explains that so Lord Vishnu, even though he's in control of Sattva, he is not influenced by the material Sattva. He just remains in close proximity to it. But Brahma and Shiva, they are also controllers, but sometimes they also get in. So we have examples. So example of Brahma being influenced by the modes. Yes, Brigomani pastime, and running behind his daughter. So of course, these are very rare examples. We don't hear it very frequent, but still. And as far as Lord Shiva, an example. Of course, Moini Murti is internal potency because Moini Murti is not Lord himself or herself. So, but it is the Lord, so that's the influence of the internal energy. But the lower modes, comparison with Haridas. Yes, that example also can be taken. Burning of Kamadev. Okay. Yes. And of course, there is again the Brigumuni pastime. The Brigumuni pastime. And Srila Prabhupada also gives when Lord Shiva became excessively angered after Sati gave up. There also Srila Prabhupada. And that is due to influence of Tamogun. Created. So yes, so very rare, but still sometimes they get influenced. Therefore, only Lord Vishnu is absolutely free from the influence.
In one sense, they are not the proper controller, semi-controller, because they are getting being controlled if they are controlling.
Yes, ultimately everyone is controlled. So even they have been given that power to control by the Supreme. So even Lord Shiva, so in one sense non-different from Vishnu, but still there is a difference. That is the example of the milk and curd. There is a difference. Another question. Good. Another. So we will continue our discussion in the next class. And our plan is to finish the 7th chapter today. So we will see what is Krishna saying.
Hare Krishna, there is one announcement. We are keeping track of the attendance, and then I am given the service of keeping track of the attendance. So if devotees are late, it will be marked as late, and within 5 minutes of the lecture starting, if devotees are not coming, it will be marked as absent. So online devotees are also we request online devotees also to come on time, and as per the rules, online devotees can keep their videos also on if possible. So that is mentioned also. So if it is possible, they can keep video on, but at least they can be present when the class starts. That time we will be keeping the attendance.
Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhaktavan ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama.